on you and a boogie woogie blue. Monster loving, baby, that ain't all. I wanna kiss her, but the gal's too tall. Young man, rhythm got a hold of me too. I got a
Still no intro.
Nope.
Never.
Never have I have one. Never gonna make me stop. Never gonna give me up. Never.
What are you doing? What? Are you trying to rickroll me?
Yes.
Look at me. Look at me.
Yeah.
Are you trying to rickroll me?
Yes, I
What's
am
going on
trying to
here?
rickroll you. Yeah, that's what's trying to go on right now.
Wop bop a loo bop a lop bop bop.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man, this is I've had enough.
It's a sad day.
It's too much.
It is too much.
Knock it off with this.
Yes, I agree.
It's in like the whole. It's just so obsolete. The idea of it just comes in threes.
Well, right now, especially. I mean, we
Well,
don't know.
Every single obituary has to come with was not COVID related, or in the case of Roy, it was COVID related.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. I guess I didn't have anything else to say about that. I apologize.
Agree in 3 more ways.
Yes, I think so.
It's like Vaughn on Community.
Right.
Hey, how are you?
Times.
Hello.
What's up?
It's oh boy.
I know.
Well,
last a great one.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what can you do?
I know. There's nothing you can do. I mean, he was 87, which is getting up there,
Well,
but still,
yeah.
it's still really sad.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you want to, I don't know. At this point, I'm just looking through lists of like people that are still around.
Oh,
Like,
boy.
I don't know if it was a movie or what we were doing the other day, but I was looking at something and thinking, oh, what a talent this person was, and what a loss it must have been. And I'm like, 105? They're still alive? I wish I could remember who it was.
Whoa.
But I'm going to start making a list of people that are still alive. I guess they'd call that a Deadpool.
Well-
Not because I want to see them die or I think they're going to die, but just like, wow, isn't it great that so-and-so is still alive? Let's get him for the show.
Right. Well, like, speaking of Community, we just watched the episode that Betty White is in.
Everybody
And
talks
she's
about Betty
great.
White.
I know. Well, jeez. Sorry.
I'm sick up to here with Betty White.
Wow.
No, I don't know. I just don't really think about Betty White that much.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Like what, she was in like Lake Placid or whatever. She was in like an
Wow.
alligator movie and had like a good turn in that. But like other than like the Golden Girls, it's weird to think. I mean, she's still around. She's fine.
Yeah.
But Golden Girls was like the last big thing for her. And it was pitched as, you are old. Here's a
I
show.
know.
But like, for people like our parents or just people from our parents' generation, even the previous generation, Betty White's just been around the
Yes.
whole time. And when I think about Little Richard, there's a couple people in the world, and, maybe it's Robert Johnson or whatever, but like when you think about like living rock and roll,
Yeah.
there
for
aren't
sure.
many of them left. There ain't no more
No.
Bill Haley.
Yeah, I know.
And like he was like one of the last that I can think of that was like, well, that's just like, that's personified rock and roll just walking around.
Right. Exactly. That's a good point.
The way that we think about.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about like who else.
Well, the Killer's out there somewhere still.
Okay.
Jerry Lee.
All right. I can't. I'm
Dewey
not
Cox
really good
died.
about-
We know that.
Wow.
He's gone now.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It's anyway. It was on my mind because of the film that I chose to watch for our show today, and not because of that specifically, but it kind of dovetailed nicely because we watched a movie that is a rock and roll fable,
Yes.
Streets of Fire, 1984 Walter Hill film,
Yes.
starring Michael Paré and Rick Moranis and Diane Lane and Amy Madigan. And the bust you up guy from Terminator. I can't remember. Rick Rossovich? Is that his name?
Yeah.
I'm going to bust you up, man.
I don't know, man.
I think whenever I see him in 80s films, he's the I'm going to bust you up, man.
Okay, don't forget Willem Dafoe, though.
And Willem Dafoe, that was my secret. I was gonna
That was your secret
bring that out
stealth
later.
move? Okay.
I was gonna come in like a raven.
Sorry. Whoa.
But yeah, a pretty good film. I think the deal is that you have to do the recap.
Yes.
Because I picked the film,
Mm-hmm,
and it is Rick Rossovich.
Okay.
He's the guy in Roxanne.
You know what? I haven't seen Roxanne.
Ooh, put it on your line. 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I should put it on.
Put
my
it on your
list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remind me later.
What happens in Streets of Fire?
Streets of Fire. I almost wanted to say Streets Ahead.
What happens in Streets Ahead? And if you're not Streets Ahead, you're Streets Behind.
Okay. So Streets of Fire is kind of in it seems like it's a made-up world.
I think all Walter Hill films, maybe even 48 Hours included, exist in another universe.
Are they within the same universe? Like, do his films have their own universe?
Think? Okay, so you're positing that
like a Tarantino.
We're not even into this yet.
World.
Maybe, but I was positing that that the Warriors takes place like before the bombs fall, and then after the bombs fall and society's kind of bouncing back, then we get Streets of Fire.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, Walter Hill films of this period all involve characters in weird themed costumes running around for some reason.
The Warriors is on my list, so someday we'll get to that. Basically, everybody is excited about this musical act in town. We don't know. Also, can I just say, we're not exactly sure when it is. It kind of seems like it's like the 50s, but we're not certain.
Lots of shoulder pads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's definitely very 80s influence, but it's also kind of supposed to be the 50s.
That's why, yeah,
so.
I think they're putting like society back together.
Okay.
You know, they it's sort of like the 50s. But, you know, in the 80s, people in the 80s, you know, like the 50s.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yep,
so
yep.
maybe they got it all mixed up because they're just kids. Because you notice everybody in this movie is under 30.
Except for some of the bikers.
Yeah, some of the bikers, I know. I noticed that. They're on Gold Wings on their way to Sturgis. It's like, is this a gang? A youth gang?
I know.
Yeah.
So there's this hot musical rock act in town.
Ellen Aim and the Attackers.
Ellen Aim and the Attackers. Ellen Aim, played by Diane Lane. And, well, I guess I don't need to say who everybody plays.
No.
And she gets kidnapped by this guy, Raven, and his gang, the Bombers.
Right. A fairly typical leather biker gang, except they have a German expressionist performance artist as their leader.
Right, exactly.
Klaus Nomi.
Yeah.
And the Bombers.
Right. And a waitress who's there is like, writes her brother and is like, I need you. And so enter Tom Cody, who is Ellen Ames. He used to date Ellen Ames, and she's like, she got kidnapped. You need to go get her. And he's like, I'm not going to do it.
No, he's more like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You always need my help.
Yeah, right. And then he decides he's going to do it.
Okay,
and
I'll do it.
Right. So
here's the vibe I got, and I figured this out at the very end of the movie. Blonde Stallone.
Blonde Stallone?
Now, if we had some sides here, I could do a thing for you, but I'm just going to have to do this off the cuff. But he's kind of like, yeah, I know your music is doing pretty well, but I'm not the kind of guy to carry guitars around. Like that's let's go close your eyes when you listen to him speak, and there's a lot of Stallone in there.
But I do feel like Stallone actually has
I
emotions.
got right. No, Stallone's a great actor. Yeah. No, this guy, no.
But anyways, so him and kind of a ragtag crew go and they get ragtaggier as it goes on.
They get raggier, that's for sure.
They go to rescue Ellen Aim from the bad part of town.
Yeah,
or
Torchies.
several towns over.
Yeah, there's somewhere over.
Yeah. So, and then they bring her back, and I mean, there's some other stuff that happens, but basically
they run into Ed Begley Jr.
Right. Basically the guy who kidnaps her tells like the cops, I want a showdown. So basically Tom Cody and Raven have a showdown, and Cody wins, and
Triangle Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more or less the story.
And then the attackers add the sorrels to their act, and everybody has a good time with the feeling of being young.
Yes. It's a lot.
I don't think this is a very good movie. I think if you Ludovico'd me and I had to watch this like not 2.5, maybe 3 times in a row, I'd be very in love with this film. But having never seen this before, having heard about it, and having never seen it before, and just watching it now, it's like, okay, all right, you were trying a lot of stuff.
They were trying a lot of stuff.
And Walter Hill's made, he's made a ton of like good movies, but he's also made a ton of movies that are like the same way. It's like, okay, well, you're just doing the baseball Furies. You're just doing stuff that nobody else is doing. That's funny. Half of this movie is the Warriors. Because the whole plot of the Warriors, and it's not a spoiler, is the Warriors get caught, during a gang war on the wrong side of town, and they got to take the train all the way back to Coney Island. And like half of this movie is them just getting back from Torchies or whatever.
Yes.
And running into like different problems and stuff. And so it's just like, okay, it's the Warriors, Walter Hill. You're repeating yourself.
Except it's a rock fable.
Right, and then when they're at Torchies, which is like a rockabilly place, I guess, kind of. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of like the bar scene from Gremlins, where just like everything is going on and everybody is just drinking beer, and and then they've got like there's a lady dancing on a table, and I remember thinking and turning to you and being like, "Wow, Flashdance really messed everybody up, huh? It was just going to be this for a while."
Yeah,
and I think I read somewhere later that like no, it was. Everybody was affected by Flashdance. Like the producer or whatever was saying, like, yeah, we just saw Flashdance and we're like, we got to get some of that in this movie. It's like, okay, it doesn't make any sense, but okay.
I mean, she's just dancing, but like, I'm kind of surprised that it's PG because.
Well, you could get away with a lot. We've talked about this on this show before, but
yeah, Splash is PG too, so yeah.
Yeah, and so it was the Blasters. The band was the Blasters.
Okay,
and they had a real. It just reminded me of the scene in Walk Hard where the guy's like, "Hey, my customers come here to dance erotically, and they need a clean floor to do it on." And then Dewey Cox is like, "Oh, I can sing. You got to love your Negro man."
Oh my god,
this is racially insensitive. Anyway, yes, there's a lot of music in this film, and it makes me wonder what would have happened if they'd used any real bands or musicians. Like, I know the people.
I know.
I know that, like, the Face to Face, I think is the name of the band that is the Attackers or whatever.
Oh,
Diane Lane doesn't sing any of the songs. There's a couple different.
I caught some.
There's
of
a couple
that,
different vocalists.
I was like, I was wondering that, and then I saw it with the credits.
So I'm not impugning like the musicians that like worked on the film, but like, what if you got
like
Madonna,
people who could sing.
Well, not Madonna, because the movie just would have been about Madonna. But
right.
you know what I mean? Just like she's okay. This is clearly like a Joan Jett analog. Joan Jett act.
Yeah, right.
Get the Blackhearts in here. Like,
right.
What if we did that? Because all the music just comes off like, yeah, it's music. Now this is what I call music, but it's like 2 U's. It's just like not quite nailing it.
Yeah.
And then the one last song at the end, which I've already forgotten, but is like was a radio hit in the 80s.
Yes.
Recognizable, and it's totally not a fit for this 50s world or the Platters dudes that are like spinning around singing it or whatever. It's just like, all right.
I know, but it's like the only recognizable song. So it's like, well, it kind of makes me. I mean, I feel like this, the soundtrack wasn't as big of a hit as maybe they were hoping it would be.
I'm sure they sold some copies. But
I'm sure they did too.
I don't know. If it just had been like,
just imagine if like
you
just like recognize all the songs, or
but
even just like 2 or 3 of them.
Sure, but even if it's a rock and roll fable, right?
Yeah.
So what if like Ed Begley Jr., who I love, was Mick Jagger or something like that? There's a guy that they run into in one scene.
Yeah.
It's perfect for a cameo. Just throw somebody in there.
Yeah, I see.
You know,
what
and
you're
what if
saying.
the band, like, what if it was the Temptations or something like that? Like, you know, or it's just, I don't know.
Like it was
just,
kind of like more of like a Blues Brothers feel to it.
well, I know. Well, yeah, right. I mean, they're trying to do like an ode to rock and roll,
Right.
and I know they kind of did it on the cheap, but yeah, what if you just recognized any of the musicians in the
Right.
film at all?
Yeah.
Apparently, like Walter Hill wanted to make a comic book movie.
Okay.
But he didn't like. I mean, first of all, he probably didn't want to do any licensing. But like, he just didn't like. He didn't want to do Spider-Man. He didn't want to do any of this stuff. But he wanted the idea of a character that was
Like a superhero.
living in like a 4-color world. There's that
Yeah,
segment that they don't even really like commit to, but where they've gotten away from Torchies and they're in the party district of like whatever that town is, and everybody's in like green pimp hats and everything, and it's like all flashy and stuff. And it's like, oh, this is like kind of a sequence, but. No,
Right.
not really. They kind of cruise through it and then they're out of it. But just that feel of like a guy rides into town and then he's gonna like kick some ass and then he's gotta go.
Well, I guess
And
you kind of
he
get
came
like
up with Tom Cody basically. That was
Right.
his response to that.
Well, and I guess there's kind of like that comic feel to it, where like some of the sequences that like for a transition.
Oh, the wipes.
Yeah, the wipes.
Yeah,
So
yeah. They more wipes than Star Wars. That's the Walter Hill guarantee.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's okay. I just found myself kind of twiddling my thumbs in a lot of it, and the Parade's terrible. Like I can't remember if I've ever seen Eddie in the Cruisers, but like this, he's just not. Walter Hill got a wild hair up his ass.
He's not
They
great.
had a line on Tom Cruise. They had Tom Cruise, 1983. Tom Cruise was going to be in this,
Oh, he would have been
and
great.
he ended up doing. Must have been Legend, something else at this time.
Jeez.
And so they lost him and got him instead, and he's just not. And the weird part is, I feel like he makes every scene worse because Rick Moranis is a good actor, or at least he's
Yeah,
an
he
expressive
is.
actor.
Yeah.
But you get the scenes with like him and Amy Madigan and
I know.
Paray, and they're in the car.
Yeah.
And Paray's like, "We're gonna do it my way." And Rick Moranis is like, "You don't know what you're talking about. I'm the guy around here. I'm a big shot." And Amy Madigan's like, "Will the two of you shut up? I'm trying to drive here." It's just like, guys, do we want to do this just one more time?
I know.
Have some fun with it.
I know. Yeah, and I gotta say, I didn't really feel any chemistry between him and Diane Lane.
Did you? No. Did you? No, I was the one that said that it was like Double Dragon.
What? I didn't get that
So,
reference, so I haven't
At the
seen
beginning
that.
of Double Dragon, the boss comes in and like punches Billy and Jimmy's girlfriend, and then takes her away, and then they have to go fight their way through the streets to go get her.
Okay.
But you were you pointed out it's like, why did he kidnap her? Like, what was the point? Like, was it he was going to hold her for ransom or something? No, it was just apparently he was just going to just keep her in a room for a week or something.
It's very unclear.
Why did he go get her?
Well, and I can't tell from watching it if he even knew who she was.
Well, I mean, his
or-
name was on the marquee.
Well,
and
yeah, but
And-
I mean,
and
like,
Fish
if he
says-
knew who she was before.
Fish says that he thought it was his fault because they had played at Torchy's or something like that at one point. Like he used to,
so
to
maybe
book
that's
there.
why he was following her around.
Yeah, I think she's
Okay.
known. People know.
Well, I know she's known,
attackers.
but yeah. So I think he just got it on his head that she was going to be his, and
Yeah, I
and
don't know.
clearly, honestly, she's been there for a couple of days because Vera writes Tom. He gets the letter
Right, wherever
in
he
the
is.
mail,
Yeah.
wherever he is, and comes home. She doesn't tell him what happened.
He's in the 70s town where everybody's having a freak out.
or the farmer town. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
It was just odd. It was like, why?
It's weird.
Why that choice?
It's weird.
Yeah.
He's just a weird character, and he's not. He was cast for his charm, but it's one of those things where I don't see what Walter Hill sees.
I mean,
and the things that he does would work. Well, actually, I don't know. Tom Cruise would never do this in a film. I'm trying to think of who else they had. They had some other people that were big at the time, like you'd know. But if it was like a more charming person, then you could maybe buy him punching Diane Lane in the face.
I know.
Or
which was very
or
odd.
just being a prick like throughout the entire film.
I
Like,
know.
why are we supposed to like this guy at all?
You know what? I mean, I think he's a good-looking guy, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But you know who he? I one point I caught myself thinking he kind of looks like he could be related to like Brendan Fraser.
I can see it.
Yeah. So. But,
Where's
yeah.
Kurt Russell in 1984?
Good question.
Because they basically just make this movie. John Carpenter makes this movie 2 years later with
Right.
Chinese culture instead of music.
Right.
And it goes, it's gangbusters.
Huge. Yeah, but you got a charismatic star.
Yeah, right.
Who can carry it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Burton, me. I like McCoy's probably my favorite part of the movie, favorite character. That part was written for a man.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to be like a fat, older, like a sidekick.
Sure, yeah.
Like a buddy. Like, I'm a mechanic, I was a soldier. And they just were like, she read for us, she's good, let's just make her the character, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, although it raises a lot of questions about what this world is. That's why I kind of cling to it's a post-apocalypse
Right.
Situation, World War III thing. What else?
I just think that the love story is it's weird. I'm not really sure what they're trying to say. Like, obviously they care about each other, but it's not going to work out. So why did we? What?
Yeah. If you did this today, okay, do it. Remake Streets of Fire. To do it every show. Remake Streets of Fire, and you have McCoy be an actual lesbian instead of just kind of suggesting it, but then she's got the not gays near the end of the film when she's like, oh, I had a boyfriend, but he was a jerk.
I know. Right?
And then you have a love triangle once they save Ellen on the way back to Riverdale or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
We've got a thing
the
where
Richmonds, I think is what it's called.
Richmond, yeah. Where she starts hitting it off with McCoy, and then he's like, hey, what's going on here? And then you've got sort of a triangle between them.
Yeah, I think that would have been interesting.
I
thought,
or you got a rectangle because you got Rick Moranis there too.
yeah, I thought maybe, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought maybe McCoy and his sister were going to hit it off.
Okay. Yeah, poor Deborah Vent. Yeah, that's too bad. She's a big part of the Warriors. She's great in the Warriors, and then she's in this and does nothing.
I thought she was great in this, actually. I thought she was one of the better actors.
As you pointed out, this movie's rated PG, and that ain't good for a Rumble gang movie.
No.
I kept expecting... it was kind of a joke because we were like, where are we going to do the Streets of Fire? And then he starts blowing up all those motorcycles, and we're like, that's a Streets of Fire.
Yes, exactly.
And then the last big showdown is, a sledgehammer fight. And then it's like, he wins. And all right, let's get out of here. And it's over. And hey, bloodshed spared? Great.
I know.
But, the first 10 minutes of the movie, or the first 5 minutes of the movie after the concert gets broken up, it's just like, oh my God, what's happening?
I know.
Everybody's being raped and murdered.
I know.
And you're like, whoa, we're really in for something. No.
No.
What was Belinda Carlisle up to at this point?
That's a really good question.
Right?
Honestly, yes.
We could have thrown her in there.
Yeah. I thought Willem Dafoe as Raven was great.
Yes, he was great. They got him, he was making a movie with Catherine Bigelow.
Okay.
That's right, The Love List. That was one of his first movies, and that's on my list.
Okay.
And they needed somebody for this Raven guy, and she knew Walter Hill. She's like, oh, Willem Dafoe is pretty good. So yeah, he was great in this.
Yes.
And very little screen time actually when you were actually playing it out.
Yeah.
But he was really good. Dottie from Pee-wee's Big Adventures in this.
Oh, was she the
What's her
one
name
who
again?
tags along?
E.G. Daily, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But she doesn't really do anything.
No.
What'd you think about the bus making the Millennium Falcon sound?
Oh, did it?
Every time the bus stopped, it went that like the Falcon's Broken song.
I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I thought it was. So they kept having to hit things that had to happen on their way back, which I get. And it's kind of a road movie. But like you have the bus break down while they're kind of traveling through a rough part of town.
Right.
And the entire time the bus is broken down, nothing
happens. Nope.
They don't get approached by
They
the
don't get
cops.
attacked.
They don't get attacked.
Nope.
I'm just like, what?
Nope, we got to get back in and sing 8675431 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it was. I
Tell me
don't
to
know.
Yeah. And then there's the end, which apparently they had a... so the movie's called Streets of Fire because there is a Bruce Springsteen song from 1979 called Streets of Fire that was going to be in the end of the movie.
They couldn't get it?
Well, they were making the deal, and then at some point he learned that they weren't going to play his song, and he wasn't performing it. Somebody else was going to do it, and he's like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
And so they were just like, it's a great time to be young. That's how we're going to wrap this up.
I know. And
Tom Cody's got to hit the road.
Fizzles.
He's got to leave.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is it was just burning life he has to get back
Yeah,
to?
19-year-old Diane Lane. Forget that. I got a lot of sulking left to do.
I know.
I got to get back out there on the road.
I know. Look, I'm not one to carry your guitars around for you.
And I like that.
Wow.
I like that he and McCoy are going to go off and have adventures. But what is this? Some kind of wonderful? Like he's going to be with...
no, I haven't seen that either.
Oh.
So.
Well, don't put that on your list. It's not that great.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
yeah. I thought it was okay.
it was all right. It had me saying, what kind of a Streets of Fire was that? I mean, I don't know. Everybody talks about it, so yeah, I mean, you have to see it. I guess I would recommend it just for your film education. But
right.
I was a little underwhelmed, but there's some guys coming with eye drops and some things to pull my eyes open. So maybe Maybe I'll have a new opinion later. Let's talk about your film.
Yes. So my film was The Odd Couple.
Yeah.
Yes.
Matthew Perry and Tom Lennon. They're just doing a great job. Oh, wait. It's amazing how we've gotten a lot of juice out of this lemon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This Jack Lemon.
You
let that one go right by.
I thought it.
Strike one.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It was a play.
Yes. By Neil Simon.
I don't remember when the play came out, but I'm going to assume the 60s, the mid-60s.
I'm going to assume.
It was turned around into a movie in 68.
Mm-hmm.
And then turned almost immediately into a TV show that ran for 5 seasons. And now it's back on CBS All Access as a new show. And there's a female version of it, The Female Odd Couple. And I was in that.
You were in The Female Odd Couple?
I was in The Female Odd Couple.
Were you two brothers?
You've got it. That's how dumb it is. You immediately got it.
If I can guess.
Here's the best part.
That's bad.
Here's the best part. We were Spanish. We were from Spain. So I was in... Yeah, you're shaking your head.
Nope.
I was in
Blonde
Barcelona,
hair.
Faith.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I suppose maybe there's some blonde Spaniards out there somewhere.
When I sat down and started thinking about, like, people getting in trouble for tweets and stuff that they've done and stuff like that, and I sat down and looked at my acting career and thought, oh my God, I can count on more than one hand number of fingers the amount of times that I've had to do brown face or something like that on stage.
That's horrible.
It's just the way it was.
It
is horrible.
It's weird to me. Just like what we were okay with just a couple of years ago.
Within my lifetime.
Yes.
Which is, not short, but yeah.
It's not long.
Oh, thank you. We're talking about The Odd Couple. Oh, it's me. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. The Odd Couple. Sorry. Okay, so it's my thing. Felix Unger is a happily married husband, father of 2 children, but maybe not so happily. So we meet him as he is haplessly trying to kill himself.
Yes.
And not succeeding in a funny way, a Neil Simon way.
Yeah.
And he's on his way, or ostensibly on his way, to a weekly poker game hosted by his friend Oscar.
Yes.
I can't remember Oscar's last. Madison. Oscar
Yes.
Madison. And their collection of friends. Mm-hmm. One of whom is Vinny, played by John Fielder, who's the voice of Piglet. Fun fact. And he finally gets there, but not before his wife, Felix's wife calls and says they're looking for him, they're worried, and they get the whole thing, and they all realize, oh, Felix is so neurotic, he's going to do something horrible, we got to be careful. Felix shows up, and long story short, the poker game breaks up, but Oscar offers to let Felix stay with him until he gets on his feet. Here's the problem. Oscar is a huge slob.
Yes.
And Felix is so type A, he's type A minus, or he's type whatever's before A.
Right.
You have to make a new letter in the alphabet.
Plus.
Yeah, he's extremely anal retentive. And that they get on each other's nerves for that reason. And it all sort of culminates on this one evening when Oscar is trying to get them a little play. He meets some sisters, Gwendolyn and Cecily, who are the characters from Oscar Wilde's Importance of Being Earnest.
Oh, right. I didn't catch that.
Somebody's a better dramaturg than somebody else. And they're going to have him over and have some drinks and a little this and that. And Felix kind of messes it up as far as Oscar's concerned.
Yep.
Because of remember the scene from Swingers? Remember when Troy and
I don't remember
the director of Jumanji's character, they go to Vegas, baby, Vegas. They're gonna have they're gonna Jedi mind trick some ladies,
Sure.
and then they're gonna get it on. But he talks about his girlfriend, that they've been together for 6 years.
Right.
And then both girls are like, "Oh, I'm sure she'll call you. Oh, it's okay," and it kind of blows the booty call.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to The Odd Couple. That's what happens. And so now they're mad at each other. They're not talking to each other. They kind of have a blow up where they get some things off their chest. Oscar throws a plate of spaghetti on the wall. Sorry, linguine. And Felix moves out. And we're not sure what's going to happen because he says, whatever happens to you, let it be on your head, or to me.
Yeah. And then he takes that back.
But don't worry about that because it turns out that Felix has been living, or he's moved in with the girls upstairs. And he's got a new lease on life. And the two part as friends, and that's it.
That is it.
Nobody gets nothing.
Nobody gets nothing. Yeah, I think maybe, so obviously I knew it was a play, and maybe I'm thinking of like the TV show, because I just kind of, in my mind, had that these guys were living with each other and getting on each other's nerves for a really long time. But
do you think that the TV show is over 5 years? It's like Lost over 5 years. They just go through 3 weeks of these guys living together.
No, I don't think it's like that at all. But that
what are
would
these
be
numbers,
something.
Felix? 4, 8, 4, 12, whatever.
But
yeah, it's not that.
It's only 3 weeks in the film.
Yeah.
So, but 3 weeks is enough. Polar opposites.
Yeah. Boy, here's another one that
There are some. Look,
we're watching classic films
Yes.
that we hate. It's all right.
Mathau and Lemon are great actors.
Oh yeah, and when you think about
they play off of each other really well. There's some great bits in it.
Jack Lemmon has always been, a great actor, but he's an actor who can only do what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then look, we're gonna watch The Apartment at some point on this show if this quarantine goes long enough, because I want to see that. But I feel like he's good with like one other person or by himself, but he's that school of that, like, Murray or whoever else is like, well, let's play some poker. Oh, I'm in a movie in the 60s. But like Jack Lemmon is like, he is that person, and he's doing a million things, and he is inhabiting that character. But there is a quality of intensity to his performances that means that he can only do so much before it's just here. Case in point, Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet, which we will not be watching on this show. I don't know, if you get a week off of work, try and watch it. But he plays like Bernardo, or one of the side characters, and like everybody's just kind of doing like, naturalistic. It's Shakespeare, but we're still trying to make it real. And then he's like, did you see the ghost on the thing? Did you see the ghost? He's just like kind of does his Jack Lemmon thing, and you're like, oh, okay, well that's the problem. I think what I'm saying is this took a long time. I think Hollywood moved on from Jack Lemmon. I think he helped create an entire school of, intense, naturalistic acting, like really feeling things on the screen.
Right.
Walter Matthau is the total opposite because he's just like,
I know, right?
Hello, divorced. Oh, I'm singing. I'm doing bits. Everybody. And then Jack Lemmon's like actually, acting and like dying up there. But I think that we kind of moved on, or maybe he didn't change enough. Apparently, I had a treatise on Jack Lemmon, all chambered and ready to go.
That's okay.
Sorry, this is your film.
No. I guess going off of that, like, there's one part where, like, Walter Matthau, like, cries, and I'm like, are we supposed to believe, like, he's, like, actually upset right now? Like, and I feel horrible, like, thinking that.
You didn't believe him?
But I was like, but you sound like you're fake crying. And I
Well,
don't know if he's fake crying, or if that's just the character,
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, the worst thing I think that they did to each other was Matthau was like done with what Felix was doing, and Felix had made himself linguine.
Yeah.
And he was about to eat it, and he turned off Oscar's TV. And Oscar was pissed, so he went over and, like, sprayed, like, Lysol or the equivalent, like, in the air. And then Felix continued eating, and then he sprayed it on Linguini.
Right.
I mean, that was just, like, I was like, whoa. That was, like, yeah. But, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think there were a lot of really great bits in this, but I feel like you can watch this and I feel like you can tell that it was a play.
Yes.
Yes. And I know that Neil Simon did the screenplay. Thank you. For it too.
Yeah.
So,
and the director, Gene Saks, he's a multiple Tony Award winning, Broadway director and actor too. He was married to B. Arthur for a while.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, like, that's how he would approach it. And I have to say, I like the staging, like, except for the fact that it's clearly a lot of it is set up like a play. Like, why would five guys all sit on one half of a side of a poker table? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, yeah.
But then later on, they use the layout, the architecture of the apartment to good effect, with the hallway and then the side doors and the kitchen, and I thought that they found interesting ways to sort of move it around, ways that you never could on a stage.
Right, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, it just, and this is 1968. I mean, we can go back and find comedy films, I think, plays that were films that have a rhythm, a more modern rhythm to them. And like, you got the jokes, but this is, I mean, this does just, and like I said, I've seen this play on stage. I've been in a version of this play on stage.
Yes.
It works. It kills in front of a live audience.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But there's just something that you lose in just having, there's, I mean, only some lines really kill, and you lose just sort of the tension of the build of the laughter tank in an audience, you know, which is that's something that's Gene Saks used to say, laughter tank all the time.
I mean, I think that there are some really great moments where you totally get who both of these characters are, and that they're vastly different. Like at the very beginning when they're out on their walk, and Oscar has chocolate ice cream, and he is being expressive. And
you're not a buffalo or a fish.
Yeah.
You're the only you that there is.
Yeah. And he's being expressive, and he's trying to be supportive of his friend who's going through a tough time, and he gets his ice cream on Felix's suit. And then Felix just becomes obsessed with it, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't want to talk bad about Walter Matthau, well-beloved actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely has done good in stuff, but maybe it was just because they did this. He was in the original Broadway show. It was him and Art Carney.
Okay.
Art Carney was Felix Unger on Broadway.
Okay.
And the girls were the girls, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, they used a lot of the original cast. So maybe you just kind of get used to like doing it a certain way, and then you think like, oh, I'm just going to come in and do it. And he just owned the part. Like he had done it for years up to that point. So now he's just going to do it in front of a camera. Whereas Jack Lemmon is coming in, and it's like, I'm Jack Lemmon. I'm going to attack this thing. I'm going to show us. We're going to get into the mind of Felix Unger. We're going to talk about Meatloaf and all this stuff. And I don't know. I just felt like, I know that they are the odd couple. They are mismatched, but I felt like their performances were mismatched. Like
I get what you're saying.
I feel like he was just carrying a lot of it.
There was like one part.
Yeah, come at me, Matthau.
Whoa.
I'll take you.
There was one part that also just like, it seemed like something you would do in a play to give an actor a bit to do, but it didn't seem to translate well to film. And this is something very, very minor, but Felix is making meatloaf and he has a ladle.
Because meatloaf, you need a ladle for
what do
meatloaf.
you need a ladle for? And he's carrying it around, and just so he can say ladle at Oscar later.
Right. Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yeah.
There's no food on it.
Yeah.
It has not been used.
And then he carries it for the whole scene where they're chatting up the girls, and it's the kind of thing where, you've got multiple angles in a scene, so we're not seeing it all the time, and it's not like some kind of obstacle that you would notice all the time if you were playing this on a stage.
Yeah.
And then maybe you do things with it, or maybe it would just be the absurdity of just,
this
Felix
man is holding a ladle
for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that doesn't really pay off, and it doesn't get replaced by anything. And I want to say they do a good job of, because all the action takes place in the apartment, in the play. And I think they do a good job of making New York City a character in this film.
Right.
Of just kind of spreading their conversations out more, and they're going to a restaurant, and they're walking in Central Park, and it's like, we got to go home. The muggers are about to arrive.
Yeah, that was a great line.
And, they do, but that's just... If they hadn't done that, this would be a total failure.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do that.
Right.
But, yeah, I just felt like they just didn't replace any of those bits that must be in the play with anything that made it a movie. It's kind of trapped between being a great play and kind of an okay movie.
I think you're right.
I liked your idea about a continuum where all the movies that we've seen that are set in New York, and I think it's been about half of them that we've seen for this show, all take place in the same New York universe. So they're just eating ice cream, and then I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire. Runs by, and I can't even remember now what
Travis
else we've
Bickles
seen.
is
Oh yeah, one day a real rain's gonna come and wash the linguine off this wall. Yeah.
The only other thing about this so there was one part that just did not age well, and I guess this just shows the time that it came out. But when they're in the diner, Oscar hits on the waitress heavily, and then actually basically pinches her butt, and it's like, what? And she's like, oh, you. I'm like, what?
Well, yeah, I mean...
oh, you, not oh, you cad, and it's anyway.
Well, there's nowhere to go with it. I mean...
I know.
It's part of their thing. If she's cool with it, I guess it's fine, but that's not... Don't do that.
No.
To people. Nobody wants to see that.
No, nobody wants that at all. So, wow, I guess 2 kind of mediocre ratings from us.
Well, I guess we're done.
Well, unless there's anything else that you want to say.
I'm just trying to think of other funny parts. I don't know. Like I said, when I was in the show, and it's it's just dumb. It's just everything they can flip to being a woman, they do.
Yeah, right.
But a lot of things they don't because they're just too good. So
do they have a female poker game, or do they do something else?
Yeah, and then there's and there's a lady cop, and it's pretty much the same. But You know, I can't stand little notes on my pillow. We're out of cornflakes. F you. Took me 3 hours to figure out F you was Felix Unger.
I know that was good.
Yeah,
that was good.
That's all pretty much the same. He's like, hey, how'd you like to talk to somebody with a voice higher than yours for a while? in the show, it was because it's Olive and must be an F, I guess. I can't remember what the F is.
Fran or something?
Yeah, it's like Francine or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and she's like, we got to get out of here. We got to get some men in here. She's like, what's the problem? And she's like, give me your hand. Okay. She puts it on her chest. She's like, okay. He's like, do you feel my breast? Yes. That's not enough. I need a bigger hand with knuckles. So anyway.
Wow.
Check it out. Female couple probably playing at a community theater near you.
I mean, I thought the actresses who played the sisters, I thought they did a good job.
They were great. Gwendolyn won Carolyn, what's her name? She won a Tony.
Oh, really?
She was in The Elephant Man.
Oh, okay.
In the 70s, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they played off each other really well. I thought it was believable they were sisters. You know, like
but
back
again,
and forth.
The shtick, they had the shtick.
Yeah,
We're just going to film it now.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. But it filmed well. So.
Think Art Carney asked for too much?
I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I wonder what the story is there. I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Think of anything else.
We got the Odd Couple.
Yep.
And you recommend it?
Well, it's another classic, so I feel bad not recommending.
Oh,
it,
you know what we should do? We should
mean?
rate it against other stuff. So, Odd Couple 2. Did you ever see that?
No.
It's just like, so remember, like they had a real renaissance in like the 90s, a bunch of Lemon Mathau films.
Yeah,
and
right.
They eventually did the Odd Couple
Grumpy
2,
Old Men.
Which, yeah, Grumpy
wait.
Old Men, Grumpier Old Men, the one on the boat with Data. I knew I'd get a Star Trek reference in there somewhere.
Wow.
Boat Trip? No, that was that's the Cuba Gooding Jr. one.
No clue what that's called.
I
know it's not Gone Fishing.
Did they do the? Oh no, that was Dead President. No, it wasn't Dead Presidents. That's something else. But the President one with Dan Aykroyd and
okay,
and Walter Matthau, and I can't remember who the other old guy was, but it wasn't. It was Lemon, but not Matthau. I'm doing a bad job here.
Oh, it's okay.
But they did an Odd Couple 2.
Why would they do an Odd Couple 2?
Because they were just at that point where they could just
I guess
pump this for more. Did you ever watch the Odd Couple TV show?
No, I don't think I ever did. I bet it was good though.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Klugman and Randall are, I almost think of them as, sorry guys, but I almost think of them as those characters more than this.
Yeah, right. Because they probably played it.
And I haven't seen the CBS one, but it must be god awful, right?
I can't imagine it's any.
Could it be any worse? Could this be any more linguine? And that's the best part, because you just know that it's, sloppy. Matthew Perry is clearly Oscar, and Tom Lennon, who has just played Jack Lemmon's Felix Unger in every role he's ever played anywhere ever. He's just that guy,
right?
And he just does it in bike shorts for 9/11. That's his whole shtick.
Uh-huh.
What if you guys flipped it? What if Matthew Perry was the neurotic one, which he has
wow.
basically been in his entire career, except up until now?
Yeah.
And Tom Lennon's like, whatever. Okay, you're at the no opinion part of the podcast.
I don't know. That why not do it and make it more interesting? But yeah.
Yeah, like Benedict Cumberbatch and Johnny Lee Miller.
There you go.
Just flip it.
Flip it.
When did Johnny Lee Miller? We got some time to fill here because yours was shorter than mine. When did Johnny Lee Miller become like this bastion of like acting?
I don't know.
Of stage and screen.
He
was just a kid
from Hackers.
From Hackers who was
married to
who M was his uncle or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, and then he was married to what's her name?
Yeah.
The most famous woman in the world. I don't remember her name.
I can't remember her name.
You know whose name I do
either.
remember? Angelique Pettyjohn, who played the go-go dancer in this, because he goes to a go-go bar for some reason. And she played Shauna in the Gamesters of Triskelion. Whenever you see that meme about like, oh, Lady Gaga was in Star Trek, that's her. The baked potatoes.
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
Green hair.
Green hair.
I'll show you a picture later.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, yeah, how did Johnny the Impaler? Oh boy, his Sherlock it stands up against Basil Rathbone as one of the best. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can you guess? Just to pad this out a little more. Did you ever see Hackers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Wow.
Why wouldn't I have seen Hackers?
Have you seen Scooby Doo?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going to discover
no,
that.
I have not. What? Do you think I'm a huge Matthew Lillard fan?
Yeah, that like accidentally you have seen all of Matthew Lillard's films,
That would be
except for
something.
SLC Punk. But I know you haven't seen Wing Commander.
No.
I want to do a Lillard cast.
Ooh. I did have a good friend of mine who was obsessed with Matthew Lillard in high school.
Oh, God. You tell me these things, and I'm supposed to react.
I know. So it wasn't me, but yeah,
All right.
but I knew somebody.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Well, anyway, what do you think they do? Let's try to write the CBS show. Is Perry a sports writer? Does that still work?
I mean, I think that still works.
Does Felix even have a job? Does it even matter?
Yeah, Felix needs a job.
But I mean, like he mentions once in the movie that
he writes for
he writes
the
news
news.
copy, I guess.
Yeah. Where do you get the ideas for your stories? The news.
Yeah, I was doing timing.
Oh,
but
okay,
that's okay.
sorry.
What's the most important thing in comedy?
Timing.
No, I say it, not you. Oh. Knowing if you're the George or the Gracie is probably the thing you should focus on. Okay, let's wrap it up. I think that's it for tonight. We got Lady Gaga on Star Trek, and that's our show.
Right.
And we'll be back maybe in the future to talk about something else. You know, the quarantine is lessening, right? It's kind of coming to an end. So
Is it?
maybe we're almost done with this show. So I know that you've been rolling randomly on your list.
Yes.
And you did suggest that we do it on the show so people know. But I nixed that because I don't care. So maybe you could like fake it and just pick like the 2 or 3 films that you really want to see just in case this show's almost done. Because I want it to be done when quarantine's over.
Yeah.
And
I
then
see what
I'll
you're
go
saying.
into my sort of quasi list and I'll pick the real winners.
Yeah.
And we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
It's not the end, but you can see it from here. Well, that was the end. You're not talking. You all right?
Fine.
She's had a lot of aspirin tonight, so.
Whoa.
All right, so we'll shut this down for
Okay.
now, and and we'll talk to you sometime in the future. And until then, stay happy and healthy, and stay safe.
Yes.
I know she's leaving 'cause I'm taking too long.